What are key employee compensation metrics? Hey friends, Josh here, founder of HR University, and in this video we'll talk about the definition of key employee compensation metrics, why they're important, and how to calculate them. But before we get into all that, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for regular HR University updates. Now let's go ahead and dive right in. We can define employee compensation metrics as tools used to measure how wages get distributed in the organization and to analyze the effectiveness of the compensation policies. Well, why is this important? Well, compensation expenses play a prominent role in most companies' budget pie charts. According to the international consulting firm Deloitte, about 40 to 60% of a business's operational costs come down to wages. And that's why investing in a quality compensation strategy saves money in the long run. The logic is simple. People work because they get compensated through pay and benefits. If they believe the reward doesn't equal the effort and can get a better deal at another firm or company, then they'll look elsewhere for work. It's no wonder compensation is a leading factor for employee turnover. So creating a comprehensive compensation program is one of the fundamental tasks of an HR department and one of the best methods for retaining skilled personnel. A study by the Work Institute reveals that compensation is the 5th most common reason employees quit their jobs. It's crucial to implement compensation programs that make the organization attractive on the job market. Not surprisingly, in a data-driven world, metrics are the go-to tool for tailoring a compensation strategy. The benefits of metrics are plentiful, and some of the high points include strategies that support business objectives. It helps you align salaries with market realities while simplifying administration procedures with pay ranges. The metrics also help to prevent legal issues related to discrimination. And it measures fairness within the organization and helps improve retention of skilled employees. Now let's go ahead and examine the 7 key metrics that can guide your compensation. Some of them may look similar and even familiar, but the value is in the details here, so make sure to pay attention. The starting point for any pay structure is the pay range. It defines the boundaries for a given position and is useful when considering raises or making new hires. The range sets the minimum and maximum you're willing to pay for a particular position. Within the range is the midpoint of the salary range, which is the average of the minimum and the maximum pay for a position, and is typically considered a jobs market rate. This method is practical when you need to implement jobs with no market value or collectively represent positions with similar internal value into your structure. Some companies choose to create a range for every position, referencing the market for each and building a range around its value. If the job list is extensive, the process can get simplified with job grades and ranges. The company's target percentile reveals how much you pay employees compared to market rates and is a helpful tool when planning new hires. Proficient employees are highly sought after and usually prefer above market prices. Not surprising. The target percentile reveals how much you should modify your budget to get their attention though. As the name indicates, it's a percentages game. And for references purposes, examples in the 10%, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 90% percentile are offered by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. If an employee is at the 50% level, they earn the average offered on the market. This is a preferred target percentile among HR professionals because it shows that the company keeps pace with the market. Although it can be reassuring to know that the organization achieved the average, when the talent pool has to get refreshed with new hires, the company needs to lead the market, meaning you should target above the 75th percentile. This means that 75% of workers in the given position get paid less than your offer, and that makes your offer very competitive. The opposite happens if under 50%, which signals that you are lagging the market. Of course, it's not perfect, as it's difficult to mirror the market pay structure because of its dynamic environment, especially with things like inflation and other economic factors at play. But using the market ratio helps you discover how attractive your company is for potential employees. The formula is not complex, and the parameters are easily attainable. You already know how much you pay for a given position, and the U.S. Bureau of Labor Services offers a market average. The formula is market ratio equals pay rate divided by the market rate at your target percentile. We can illustrate the metric with a simple example here. If you hire an accountant for $40,000 and the market rate is $50,000, then the market ratio is $40,000 divided by $50,000, and the result is 0.8. A practical benchmark would be to aim for a ratio of 1, which signals your employees get paid at the target percentile. Another important topic here is that feelings of pay discrimination are a leading cause for turnover, and internal equity is the best metric for balancing the pay scale. The metric makes it possible to estimate how much workers get paid in a given job compared to workers in a similar position. The information produced by the metrics can be used to correct any potential injustices and create an environment where equal work results in equal pay. According to a Pew Research Center study, women earned 82% of what men are paid, which is sad that that's still the case. And a corporation that employs hundreds of people can benefit from the internal equity metric by performing yearly audits of the payroll and implementing corrections. Fair pay signals that the company doesn't discriminate on gender or a race basis. This makes for an excellent advertisement for the company as well. The cost of living varies between states and cities and gets reflected in the salary offered in a given geographical region. And logically, that has created the need for a metric known as the geographic differential. The metric calculates the pay variations for an identical job in different locations. If the company has subsidiaries in different regions, using the metric can help in adapting the pay structure to local markets. On a related note, something frequently overlooked is the commuting expense for workers residing in the suburbs or different cities. Offering compensation for the travel costs can also improve retention. Now let's talk about COMPA ratios. It is a measure that expresses current pay rates as a percentage of range midpoints. Examine how the present pay strategy rates compare with the market. The principle is to contrast an individual salary against a salary range. Reference points can be industry salary ranges, geo-region ranges, or your organization's internal ranges. To calculate COMPA ratio, divide the individual salary by the midpoint of the salary range. Results of 1 signal an employee's pay is at the midpoint of the salary range. If it's under 1, it means the pay is below the midpoint, and anything over indicates the salary is above the midpoint. A score under 1 is not always a negative signal though. Maybe your strategy is to pay below the market average. Alternatively, the score can be lower because of inexperienced hires. Finally, we have the salary range penetration. It informs where an employee's pay falls within a pay range. The obvious question is, how is this different from the COMPA ratio? At face value, both identify where a worker falls in the pay range, but there is a difference. The COMPA ratio compares the salary to the midpoint of the salary range, showing if it's over or under the midpoint, while salary range penetration reveals a precise point within the range. The formula is to subtract the range minimum from the salary and divide that by the range minimum, subtracted from the range maximum. The result will be a decimal multiplied by 100 to get the percentage. The application of the metric is to identify where employees are in the range when planning for merit increases. When a worker is at the top end of the salary range, a few questions emerge, like, is a promotion required? Because employee compensation is the largest expense in any organization, effectively managing the distribution of that resource is a priority. The key employee compensation metrics can be guidelines for making informed decisions when preparing a compensatory strategy, improving proficiency, and reducing turnover rates. Metrics can generate quality data that turn compensation into a strategic advantage on the job market for a company. Job seekers no longer make decisions based on who will pay top dollar. They want to be part of a work environment that will ultimately make them feel valued. And there we have it. In this video, we covered the key concepts and importance of employee compensation metrics. And if you feel like you have a better understanding of how employee compensation metrics can help your organization, then make sure to like the video and subscribe to our HR University channel. And I'll go ahead and see you in some of our following videos. Cheers.